and I reach for the handle, and it is just sopping wet.
No, dude.
With freaking balsamic, bro. So I'm like,
just
what?
sloshes.
Not only do you eat salad with your hands, you don't have the decency to like wipe it off. Welcome to the Spencer Whiteout podcast. Rated R.
Guess like we're avoiding the shark.
No, today Turbo Neck Day?
I'll give you a kiss. You give me your number.
Got checked out a ton, dude. Tell me you felt it.
We're Americans. We're the ones that are descendants from the 1776 musket-bearing motherfuckers.
Welcome back to the Spencer Whiteout podcast. This is episode number 22. In this episode, we discuss the taquito tennis racket, the plate massacre, the squirrel massacre, and much more.
Disclaimer. You've been disclaimed.
The following presentation is intended for immature audiences.
So there's this one spot. It's called
Planet Juice.
So my family were like, hey, let's go get some juice. It's probably like Jamba Juice, whatever. Let's go get some juice. And so we go there, and we hadn't been there before, and we weren't really sure what the vibe was. And apparently, like, it's like a really hippy dippy vibe. Mm-hmm. And there's this woman in like a burlap shirt, like a shirt that is not supposed to be made out of that.
Out of a sack.
Yeah, it's like sackcloth, basically.
Yeah, she was repurposed from like a potato bag.
Yeah,
and
she was repurposed.
so it has like Idaho potatoes printed on it, you know, like that.
it's like a white girl with dreadlocks, and you already know. You already know, like without seeing that she has like armpit hair.
It's like coming through the burlap sack,
poking out. Anyways, so she's enjoying a nice salad.
Caesar.
But she doesn't have any like utensils. And we see her shoveling lettuce into her hole. And she's just like mowing down on straight arugula with just her hands. I've never seen that before, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is going on? Okay, whatever. That's over there. And so we finish up our juice and stuff. And we're like, all right, let's wrap it up. And then I reach for the handle of the door to get out of Planet Juice.
Yeah.
And those people had left before us. And I reach for the handle, and it is just sopping wet.
No, dude.
With freaking balsamic, bro. So I'm like,
just
what?
sloshes.
Not only do you eat salad with your hands, you don't have the decency to wipe it off.
That's insane. Just the image of somebody just like eating right out of the salad bar.
See,
So-
I feel like there are some people that are like, our ancestors didn't have forks, so like, why should I?
Yeah.
You know?
They also didn't have salad bars, dude.
Okay, so let's talk about Douchane, though.
Let's talk about gentlemen with strange names.
Right.
So his first name
Douchane.
does not matter.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
all right.
and if you're catching a vibe here, we're like, your name will be what I say it is.
Oh yeah, we also called this kid Buttram because his name was Bert.
Okay, let's
Bertram.
we got to establish
We haven't
that.
talked about Buttram yet.
That has to be a
What a
part of the
great
lore
name,
of the
dude.
Spencer Whiteout podcast at some point, man. Because Buttram was a legend, man.
Yeah.
It became a legend, and that.
Everyone started calling everyone
that
Buttram.
the teachers jumped in with.
Buttram.
They were more opposed to it for obvious reasons.
Imagine the teacher started calling the kid Buttram in class.
But this dude's last name was Buttram, right?
Okay.
And he was just like on pace to being, you know, like a military dude and stuff, just like kind of meant business, right?
Yeah.
And so we saw this name pop up when we were watching Back to the Future.
Oh yeah,
we're watching Back to the Future with
Dude,
Jason.
I forgot about that.
And we see his name, and it was blank, exact same first name. So Andy, let's say, Buttram. And
no,
we're like,
no, but it was.
Hey, listen though, listen. Okay, so we're watching this, and we're watching this.
Yeah.
You know how small
Yeah.
TVs used to
Yeah.
be. It's not even square.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like a
circular kind
circle,
of.
yeah.
Like some weird
It's fuzzy. You got to
70s
adjust the
garbage, yeah.
tracking when you were popping a VHS and stuff. And so we're watching it, and we see, oh, dude, like that's his exact name. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And then we pause it, and then
Rewind.
we
look
step
a little
forward,
closer.
squint our eyes. We're like, wait, yeah, that's the same name. And we look closer, and it's Andy Buttram. And we look at each other, we're like,
Buttram,
is there
two T's.
really
Butt
a
Ram.
guy
Buttram
with a last name of Buttram
Mr. Buttram.
Mr. So you're like 25 years old, 30 years old, however old, and you've gone your whole life just allowing your last name to be Buttram. You can change it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
I changed it. It's not that hard.
Of course.
You know, I legally changed my last name
Yeah,
to
you did.
Whiteout.
It's badass.
Okay, so once we discovered that you could call people Buttram,
Yeah.
we were like, I've got somebody perfect for that. And so we started calling him Buttram. And everybody started calling him Buttram, man.
Amazing.
And it wasn't like a bullying thing.
It was like his
weren't-
first name in Buttram. It was just Buttram.
Yeah, you just
That
Buttram,
was just
dude.
his name. Wow.
I mean, at some point, it got like way too out of control and stuff,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, Buttram, you
Yeah.
know? And so we had teachers being like,
Can we please refrain from calling him butt ram? Can we please hold off on the ramming of the
They
butts?
like make an announcement in chapel.
Yeah, like,
No, that didn't
guys, you
happen.
can't.
so
Could you
it
imagine?
just got
Just
out of
address the
control.
entire school.
Buttram needs to stop.
See, that would just be an absolute win, even if
Yeah,
they shut it down. We got you to say Buttram.
You know, that reminds me, like, a quick one real quick for you guys. My mom's maiden name is Seaman. I'm not kidding you at all. And my cousin, you know, his last name is Seaman, so he embraced the name Semanator in high school. And he owned it, dude.
Nice.
I am the Semanator.
Seminator. That's awesome.
Dude, if you own it, nobody can touch you, man.
Exactly. But what an unfortunate last name,
Yeah.
especially in today's times, you know.
Dude, we had someone in our high school with the last name of Seaman, and he was like a star athlete. And so
Yeah.
during the games, we would chant Seaman, Seaman, Seaman. Yeah, whenever he'd have the ball, like we would just be
Amazing.
chanting, dude.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyways,
Amazing.
All right,
back
Douchane.
to Buttram and other ways that we bastardize people's names. So this dude's last name is Douchane.
Okay.
He starts calling him Douchane because it has the word douche in it, and it's like you got to make it derogatory to some extent, right?
Right,
So,
right,
anyways, so he's Douchane, and his thing is he's a karate guy.
Okay.
And,
All
like,
right. Karate Kid.
And it's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
secret whatsoever because
Yeah.
he's gonna make you know that
Yeah.
he's a karate guy. And dude, also to his credit, very good reflexes. You know, you'd be like, "Hey, like you got a little something like on your face," and he'd be like,
Just make the noise.
and he would like smack your hand away.
Yeah.
Wow. There'd
With
be like a fly in the
stunning-
classroom.
Would you guys
We'd be
test
like,
him
you
and
could
like
kill the
try and
fly
get in
and
his
you just
face
get
and
it.
see if he'd smack it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
all the
totally. We
time.
would put him to the test
Wow,
all the
that's-
time. And
Well, good.
and
Keep
so
him on
like
his toes,
after
right?
school, he'd be like rehearsing his moves and
you
stuff.
go
He'd
that
be
way?
out there doing like flying kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm such a douchebag. I'm like, hey. By the way, everybody loves it when you do your karate, man. So like, let's see some of that right
doing
now.
that, yeah.
Yeah, you kept him going, dude.
He's
You
like,
feel
all
him.
right, sweet,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah.
And also, he's on the tennis team,
Yeah.
and so he's got a little ego about like being on the tennis team, right? And so he's carrying his racket all the time.
Carries it everywhere to every
Dude,
class.
He'd always bring the same lunch. He would bring these like deli mex taquitos, which are fire.
Yo, that sounds dope.
Which are fire. He
every
would
day.
heat them up on a paper towel
Right.
and stuff, and
Yeah.
he wouldn't bother putting them on a plate.
Yeah, on the tennis racket.
He would put them on the tennis racket and
No
eat them
way.
off the tennis racket.
and he'd carry his
No
tennis
way.
racket
Yeah,
around.
carrying it around and stuff. Dude, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Pumping Iron. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh
I
my
haven't.
gosh.
I gotta
Okay,
see
well,
it,
it's like
yeah.
young Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And you already know the vibe with like young Arnold.
Yeah.
So he's just like wicked, like,
Oh man, like I'm the man.
you know, and so he's like yakking like a 50-pound weight and he's smoking a doobie at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And he's just like, oh, really? I didn't even realize that I was like totally yakking this weight. So, anyways, that's exactly the same vibe
Yeah.
because Douchane is like, oh, I don't need plates, man. I just put her straight on my equipment.
Yeah.
Because I'm an athlete,
Yeah.
you know? And so he just like struts around with his taquitos and
Yeah.
stuff.
So we talked about the taquito tennis racket plate.
So
How about
good.
you've got some story about a plate massacre?
Oh my gosh, yeah. A plate massacres, yeah, putting it lightly, dude.
Plate massacre.
Yeah. Okay, so I've only blacked out once in my entire life. Okay, I was in Croatia and I was just had started drinking, so I didn't know my limits. And I'm going out there for a wedding, my cousin's wedding, right? Okay, cousin gets married. Like, you know what? His wife was working, so like he was like, we're gonna go out in the Adriatic Sea on our like yacht and just island hop and drink and eat at all these restaurants. Left his wife at home, which is pretty funny. She had to work, so they couldn't go anywhere anyway. They did a honeymoon later on, but we're just island hopping, going to all these places, and they knew all these places. Like they were like friends with them and stuff. Like we close them out every time, but the last island, dude. island of death for me. We went to this restaurant. The owner's name's Damir or whatever, right? So we're up there. We're drinking white wine, dude. It's like flowing like Niagara Falls, dude, okay? Eating white fish and olive oil and bread, just chilling. Next thing you know, like the waitstaff sitting down. We had closed out the restaurant there. They were sitting down. They were drinking with us, smoking their cigs and stuff. And Damir's like,
Let's go down to the bar and drink all these drinks.
and like literally just opened up the bar and got me like top shelf whiskey. Next thing I know, I'm waking up to a floor littered in broken like plates, essentially. And he's laughing his ass off. My cousin's got me on his other arm. They're dragging me out like, ha ha ha, you did that, or whatever.
Broke all these
broke
plates.
all these plates or whatever. And I was like, what? Like, no, I didn't. But I find out later on that I was drunk and I accidentally like knocked over one plate, and I was like super apologetic to Damir, and he was like,
I don't care. Who cares?
he starts taking plates and throwing them everywhere. And then everybody starts just throwing plates and like just
Didn't he
everywhere.
say, you think I give a rip about these plates?
Yeah, he literally said that. He's like, you think I give a rat's ass about these plates? And he's just throwing them. I don't know how he even served the guys the next day because he broke so many freaking plates. And I only broke one for the record. But that was crazy. It was just like this total like plate massacre that had happened. It was just like a bloodbath on the ground of like broken porcelain.
Bloodbath.
Yeah, it was terrible, dude.
That's such a like white collar thing to do. You think I actually care about these plates? Bring me 1,000 plates. I will blast them all.
And it was cool, dude. That was also just a quick one for you guys. On that island, there was a grandma selling like moonshine basically in the alleyway, and we bought some of it. It was crazy. It was just like old like witch looking lady like
She has a cauldron,
yeah,
dude.
and they were making racket, which is basically just like Everclear with like herbs and stuff. And we bought some like in an old Smirnoff bottle, but she looked like a witch from like a Disney.
my
shit.
gosh.
Yeah, dude.
You're like, is
It
this
was
going to
cool.
turn me into a frog?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Squirrel
That's an
massacre?
epic story.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of massacres in my time. Another one was great. Some people might not like this story. Pete, I'm looking at you. But we grew up on 15 acres out in Poway, California. And we had some trees that would bear fruit. We had some fruit trees and some nice lawns and stuff like that. But anyway, it got infested with rabbits. We're talking like legions of rabbits, like hanging out. Squirrels are eating all of our fruit. And my dad's just like done with it. He's like, dude, I planted all these things. We've had too many of them. It's a population control issue at this point. Goes out and buys 222 rifles, right? And he looks at my brother and I was like, okay, listen, $10 for a rabbit, $15 for a squirrel. Get at it. And we start just gunning them down, dude. Okay?
You guys
We
are
started-
mercenaries at this
Mercenaries.
point.
Yeah, at this point, we were paid hired guns for my dad, okay? This might not come across as good. Like, I'm sure people will be like, Andy, what the heck?
Hey, they're
I'm telling
pests.
you, there were too many of them and they were destroying property, okay?
That's your
All right.
livelihood.
That's exactly. We're selling the fruit at the farmer's market. How dare
At
you?
Croatian farmers.
Oh, yeah,
here.
Croatian farmers market. Yeah. So
Strawberry
we're gunning
stand.
them down like crazy. And then my dad's like, okay, you're cleaning me out now. I got to like lower the price.
Yeah, lower the bounty.
Yeah, exactly. You had to lower the bounty because like our mercenary group became too effective at killing animals.
Of course it did with your paramilitary background.
Yeah, exactly. My paramilitary background, sleeper cell background. But it was so funny, like just my dad having to lower the price of the head of the animals because we're taking them out too much. And people are going to be like, oh, that's so sad. It's so messed up. You're taking lives. Like we had an infestation problem. And I think bullets a lot better than poisoning them, in my opinion.
Oh,
so
totally,
we were
man.
doing a lot.
That's a
we were-
quick death.
Yeah. So PETA, we were doing the humanitarian approach to it.
Doing
Yeah, exactly.
service.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that was a funny thing. My dad was like, okay, just kind of joshing, was like, all right, $100 if you hit a squirrel with a bow and arrow.
Ooh.
And
Did
my
he?
brother went out for like a couple weeks and was just slinging arrows at freaking squirrels. He got one right between the eyes.
No way.
Yeah, dude. It took a couple. It was a couple
So
days.
did he get $100?
He got $100 and bought a new bow with that money. Dude.
Nice,
dude. To hunt more squirrels. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. He's just I'm reinvesting right back into the business.
So let's talk about
Crab cabin.
So I was a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout actually, and we had a kind of like a wild Scoutmaster, dude. He was funny. He would encourage pranks, okay? And we were at Emerald Bay, which is on Catalina, right? And my Scoutmaster convinced my brother to collect as many crabs as possible and stuff into our counselor's bag. Yeah, like close to 100 crabs.
Dude, crabs are really
Yeah.
interesting creatures. The way
They
they
are, dude.
walk to
They're-
the
yeah.
side is so
Like,
funny.
yeah.
Kind of like you in Spaceways, where he's like, yeah, he crab walks to the side.
That That's a good prank, man.
Yeah, so he puts in a bag. The guy gets back and dumps out his like duffel bag. Crabs just start attacking his freaking cabin. It was so funny, dude.
Oh my
He was a
gosh.
funny guy. He was just an interesting guy. He made scouting a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
We were the troop that show up like kind of like disheveled to like the morning calls, and all these other troops are like super military and like, you know, we were Boy Scouts, let's go. But we were
You
just
guys were
like
the ragtag
Yeah, we were the
crew.
ragtag crew, dude. Like pranking our counselors. Like he wanted to do this thing at that same camp. He was like, let's just steal all the boats and put them on the mess hall roof. And we almost did it, but there was too much security. Like they basically said at the end of the week, like,
Any more pranks? We're gonna ban you guys from the camp.
I had a counselor that when we went to Camp Forward, our camp counselor, he only wanted us to refer to him as
Optimus Prime.
which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I remember we were like in the cabin and we said, Optimus, where'd you get all that back hair? Without a even second going by, he just goes, oh, I borrowed it from my cousin.
just
What
like
the
didn't
heck?
even think about it.
No, it was just like such an
Do you
automatic
remember this,
answer.
dude? Okay, so we're merging onto the highway, and we almost get like totally mowed down by this massive 18-wheeler, and you shout, Optimus!
That's awesome.
You're like swerving down the road. You're like, Optimus!
Dude,
Amazing.
also a cabin story, dude. This is one that I do look back and I think that was actually pretty messed up. But at the time, it was pretty funny because we were all in like junior high. And then there was this kid named Nick, and he was like the smallest one out of all of us. And then for some reason, Optimus wasn't there. He was like dragging behind or something. So we're like, hey, what can we do that's like crazy and bad right now? Like while Optimus
Like
isn't
looking for
here.
chaos?
Yeah. And so what we did was we just like started laying our hands on Nick and we like picked him up and he's like, stop.
It's like Lord of the Flies in there, dude.
We take him outside and like classify. No.
Keep that in. It's just like, dang it.
Dude, it's so funny.
No, but yeah, we definitely felt bad, and we were like, that was pretty funny. And then we thought back about it later, and it was like, dude, that was so messed up.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably like still traumatized.
Traumatized,
You know, he's
yeah.
probably talking to his therapist about that.
Yeah. Well, I have a story like I was the receiving end of that one time in high school. Something like that where I called this upperclassman a douche and he looks at me, I'm going to get you. And I was like, obviously joking at the dude, right? Where I'm in PE in the locker room, like getting dressed or whatever. This guy was on top of the lockers, jumps down like a spider monkey, dude. And like, this is messed up. Pins me down and starts dry humping. I was like, don't ever call me douche again. And the entire class is watching it, dude. And I could have got that guy to spell it, dude. Yeah, dry hump me. I'm like, looking back, he made himself look like a freaking creep, by the way. And that was like sexual assault straight up, like actually textbook. But it was like that. It was like that moment. And I just went with it and I was like traumatized or whatever afterwards. It was funny, the entire class was just standing like, what am I watching right now? But oh my gosh, it was nuts, dude.
What about Fraudo Baggins?
Every single one of my English teachers in high school was kind of weird. And some of them I liked better than others, but there's one that was just like kind of not there and didn't understand what was going on. She's like, all right, guys, creative writing assignment. Let's do this. So we all wrote our fun little stories or whatever. My friend Jacob decides he's just going to straight up rip off the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and just change the names a little bit. And so like...
Not creative
at all. Totally copying it. And it's like Gamgee Samwise and stuff like that. Like super dumb names that were almost exactly the same. If you'd ever read Lord of the Rings, you would know. Like, this is a ripoff. Anyways, he submits it. Monday comes around, and she's like, guys, I just got to say, Jacob did a great job on his assignment.
No.
Yes, like, he's great. She pulled him aside and was like, you should really be a creative writer. She had never read Lord of the Rings, apparently.
What the heck?
Yeah, and everybody knew, by the way, that Jacob had, like, completely Fraudo Baggins it, basically, dude. Just, like, completely faked the whole thing. And it's a legendary moment, dude. It was a legendary moment in high school.
So you're like, you're a fraud.
Like,
You're Fraudo. Get out of the Shire.
He got an A+ on that. Bastard got an A+ on it, dude.
What an injustice.
I know, right?
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor and leave a rating/review. 5 stars is a power play. Be sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Spencer Whiteout to stay up to date. As always, stay tuned, stay hyped. That's a wrap.
Inserting exclusive audio recording from the vault.
Tell me that story.
You were recording?
Of course I'm recording.
No, dude. Okay, so it starts a movie, and then Amber's like, hey, Kyle, you should play with my hair.
Play
I was
with my
like-
hair.
And I was like, I mean, I'm not good at it.
Like, I was just like hesitant, like, she's like, it's okay. You know, just do it. I was like, and I was like, how do I was like weird and I like couldn't say no, and so I was like, well, we should start like a hair trade. So I just didn't want to be the only one like involved. It's freaking weird. So I was like, Shannon, like you should play with my hair one, I play with hers, you know? Yeah. I didn't say it like that though, but that's how I felt. And then I was like, okay. So then it was just weird.
And you're regretting it while you're doing it.
Yeah, and then Shannon gave up and I'm like, thank you, Shannon. And I'm like, but I'm still going. Why? And then I stop. And Amber turns around, and she's like, "You stopped." And I'm like, "What?" Like, yeah. And then she's like, "Keep going." You're like, "What?" Like, I'm not obligated to do this. This is weird. But I didn't say anything, and like people keep walking in the room, and I keep stopping when people walking in because I'm like, this is freaking weird. Like, they're not.
And she's like, "Why do you keep stopping?"
I know. And I'm like, "What are you doing?"
And that's it.